And now, the last speaker of the session. She's from Marmara University, Faculty of Theology, Professor Dr. Hülya Alper. She's going to speak about pilgrimage in the digitalized world, about the danger of loss of spirit in the language of visuality. This is another critical topic, and the floor is yours, Professor. We can't hear you. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thanks to God and greetings to His Prophet Muhammad. I listened to all the former speakers. I thank all of them. They contributed to my topic and they facilitated my job. I'm the last speaker, but I hope my remarks will be complementary with what they said. I'll be talking about Hajj in digitalized world, and I will speak about the danger of loss of spirit in the language of visuality. Why? Of course, Hajj is a spiritual journey. But as it has been emphasized before, sometimes people forget the spiritual aspect, but that journey sometimes evolve into different scales. And the reason is mostly the environment that we live in. You know, normally in academic studies, we start from the very beginning. It's not always the best way to start from scratch, but that can be the best way today. I will very fast and quick. And in my speech, I will talk about some generic and global problems, and then I will tell and show you what is explained in the websites about Hajj, and then I will give some comments about the information that is available in the guidance of the presidency from digitalization perspective. We live under the siege of digital networks. I have a lot of visual materials in my presentation just to make my job easier. We live in a digitalized world. We live in a digital age, and this age is managed and guided by some people, some actors. And you know, the biggest issue is the capitalist system. Without seeing this, we cannot think that this is a natural transformation. Well, in the globalized capitalism, we see that the digital age and the elements of this age are ignored, and in fact people just get insensitive. They turn blind to everything if they get too involved in that digital world. You see, this is an invisible hand. An invisible hand is organizing and arranging whatever is taking place in the world. So they do not see what is happening, and they think that, okay, this is a requirement of the age and we cannot help it. No, this is wrong. This is applicable for everything, and this is also applicable for the Hajj. In today's world, the brains of people are taken away and people are transforming into machines. And people are always rushing, even for the slightest and the most trivial things. And they are also rushing on digital networks. People, in fact, feel like their brains are like a garbage can. Everything is in there. This is the world that we are living in. Who's listening us? Who is listening to music? A person? Or who's trying to capture pictures with the cameras while the music is playing? This is the digital world. We are techno addicts. We are techno blinds. People do not notice that they are about to walk off the cliff. There are gaps between people. People do not understand one another. People do not hear and see one another. And now there are digital illnesses. WhatsAppitis, hikikomori phenomenon, ego surfing, and many others. In fact, since we're talking about morality, we see all of these are against morality. It's not just to have a short look at WhatsApp. So it's mostly about surfing on internet just to satisfy your ego. There are many other diseases just like web blog disclosure or YouTube narcissism. And there is a like capitalism, as we call it. This is the click that you give on the social media. So if you want to be friendly, you need to like the posts. And the human being is turned into a consumer object. This is loss of humanity from my point of view. And the religion is going popular, it is made popular, and then it becomes a consumption object. And the religious values, in fact, lose in their depth and profoundness. Before modernity, religion was the subject. During modernity, it was object. And in postmodernism, it is a commodity. In postmodern world, we have certain topics like Islam and consumption, conservatism and fashion, mindset and fashion. These are opposite topics, but they are brought together in this postmodern world. Now, in this age, this is like religion as an open buffet. Everyone gets whatever she or he likes and leaves behind whatever she does not. Everyone checks the web and then chooses certain elements to create some synchronized or spontaneous religion for them. And what about social media? Sometimes we see criticism against this. They call this the marketing religiosity or show-off religiosity. I invented the last item, that is visual religiosity, because they just take the benefit of the visuals, and now visuals are more important than the religion itself. So everyone tries to be visible. They try to be present with visuality. Now, online Hajj descriptions and text. People share some video recordings that show the tawaf, circumambulation. I don't want to show you these videos because I feel very sorry. And they take a picture of Kaaba with the Baytullah in the background. You cannot turn your back to Baytullah, but they can easily make the Baytullah a background for their pictures. And also they capture some selfies, and also they knee down in order to propose marriage in front of Kaaba. This is totally against the tradition. I mean, the kneeling down and proposing the marriage, but they do this even in Kaaba. You see how down we go. Just do some surfing online. You can find tens or dozens of examples. For example, people of theaters or cinematography, they take these kinds of pictures with the Kaaba at the background, and this is how they make the religion into populism. Hajj as a tour. When you make a search online, in fact, you always see the names of companies at the top of the search items list. When I made a search with Hajj plus Ibadah words, the results were 1.9 million. When I wrote Hajj plus tour as keywords, the number of results was over 3.6 million. This is strange. You can also ask internet, how to practice Hajj. You can use a search engine, for example, Google, and the number of results was 11.6 thousand. It's interesting. The Presidency of Religious Affairs, in fact, has the most comprehensive work. It is a book about Hajj and Umrah, but it is not listed, at the top of the findings. It is ranked towards the end of the list. Now, I would like to ask, do we get objective information from internet, or is some information selected and offered to you in a selected way? I believe the presidency and its sources should be offered at the top of the list of findings. You can try and see. So, Mrs. Esma Erten, I would like to thank you. She's the head of our Hajj and Umrah training department. She provided me with the specific website address so that I could make this speech. In fact, I made some overall searches about Hajj, and I found many articles and videos, etc. Now I'd like to talk about the narrations. The tourism companies also provide some information. For example, how to perform the Hajj, and the narrations are normally similar. They say that it is done for the sake of God, fiqh is important, and these are okay. You have to be patient, and you cannot torture and torment anyone when you are in ihram. You cannot swear or insult. So this is typical narration that you can find in any website. There are some templates. For example, you should read Quran, give prayer, you should give repentance, and then zikr. But this is copy-paste in all the websites. This is sorry. Just one website highlighted the importance of Hajj. It says it's a journey of ibadah, it trains the subject, it includes some symbols, but just one website provides this information. And now I would like to talk about the training and visit guide of our presidency. Our DG, in fact, is the most comprehensive piece of work that you can find among the Turkish websites. In fact, my study is limited to Turkish websites, by the way. What about the contents of our guide? You know the topics, these chapters. What is Hajj? What is the blessings and benefits? How do you perform it? The glossary, Hajj with fatwas, and Hajj ibadah for the deaf. It's good. You can download the audio version, and also you can access some online works and environmental morality in Islam. I don't know if this is the correct place, but it is there. It's good to have it anyway. Step-by-step Hajj video recordings. These are admirable because a few days ago, the Diyanet TV was shooting some short videos, and the videos were supposed to be 1 minute long. They wanted to have 1 minute videos because if it is longer than 1 or 2 minutes, no one will watch it. Now you see some short videos of our presidency are there as well. These videos explain that Hajj is a spiritual journey, and it is a rehearsal for the preparation of death, and it is a journey to the God. And during tawaf, there are some inappropriate behaviors, just like speaking on the phone, shooting videos and pictures, and speaking loud, and this is against the spiritual atmosphere of harem. And they can also be turned into mottos, especially this last item, capturing pictures and videos and speaking on the phone during tawaf. These are important. When they are doing the tawaf, they call Turkey, can you imagine, to inform their beloved ones that they are doing tawaf at that moment. So not only in the videos, but in the other printed text material, this information should be included. On the website of the presidency, in fact, there are some visual materials for the deaf, and there are some audio materials for the blind. That is a good idea, thank you. And what about the dominating language? It is mostly about fiqh. The Hajj is always explained with the fiqh in the center. You cannot avoid this. In fact, I know this from my experience. Fiqh is not enough, but fiqh is inevitable. It's sine qua non. Because in order for the ibadah to be acceptable, you need fiqh. So ibadah is not something, you know, to take softly or lightly. You have to follow the way of the Prophet. Fiqh is inevitable, but what about the spiritual dimension? When fiqh is more important than spiritual, then you know, the visuals may occupy a bigger place than the spirituality. The website of the presidency is mostly about text, and it is conventional media. There are good trainings and courses and programs. When the presidency is explaining the Hajj, you can use a different language on the website, because in an encyclopedia you can use a certain language, but on the website you need a different language. You see, you may need some different media than the conventional media if you are going to post some information online. Digital language, when you are trying to have some presence in the digital world, are we getting lost in the digital world? This is my real question. That's why I started my presentation with some negative criticism. If our aim is to have some presence in the digital world, if we are aiming at some benefits, we need to change the language. I have some recommendations. You need to use a simple language. You need to have shorter sentences in digital world. You can use some pop-up windows. I'm trying to be very quick for time management. I do not give examples. Some words are there on our website, for example. These are very difficult for even me to understand. At least you can use some pop-up windows to explain them. And you need to be interactive. The website visitors, in fact, don't want to be passive. They need to have some interaction. Hülya, can you complete in 1 or 2 minutes? Yes, please. Yes, please. I will. And also, rather than going scientific, you need to address the emotions, and you need to change your language. So you need to decide, are you going for the digital media? If on the digital media, please pay attention to certain requirements. So what is the modern world a problem? What is the criterion? So are we destined to what is available today? Is it possible to change certain things? Hajj Shirazi's Hajj, and a quotation from this. That person who reached Mina just like Abraham, probably you brought your sacrifice here, and probably you chose your Ishmael to sacrifice in Mina. Who is the Ishmael for you? And when one can only find itself when it sets itself free of Ishmael's bonds. Thank you. Thank you, Hülya.